Episode 4 of Moving picks up where we left off with Bong-suk levitating as a stunned Huisu watches on. She tries to get him something to grab onto, but there is nothing in close sight. She ends up jumping and grabbing his leg and they fall down together. She then quickly gives Bong-suk his back, but he keeps floating. For a few minutes, they alternate between floating and trying to stay on the ground. They leave the school grounds and Ji-sung can't help but smile fondly at the two of them. Huisu walks Bong-suk home after since he is unable to control his power. Even though it is raining heavily, they manage to get home. Mi-hyun is surprised to see Bong-suk arrive with a female friend. It gets awkward for a couple of seconds as she processes this new piece of information. She quickly recovers and invites Huisu to have dinner. She serves them a lot of food and Huisu forces herself to eat it all as a sign of courtesy. Bong-suk turns the food since he is used to eating big portions. Mi-hyun also serves them apples as dessert and Huisu commends her slicing skills. Meanwhile, Frank visits a salon and asks for a haircut. The salon owner is a lady and tries to tell him that they are closed. However, Frank insists on having his haircut. Frank's Korean language skills are pitiful, so the salon owner agrees to provide him the service. As she washes his hair, Frank starts asking personal questions like the number of kids she has. The woman immediately realizes something is off and grabs her scissors. She sticks them in Frank's face, but he removes them and regenerates. An intense fight ensues, and the woman fights with all her might to save her life. Unfortunately, she is no match for Frank, who regenerates and heals no matter how many bullets she uses on him. Ultimately, she dies a painful death, but she calls him a second string. These words hit Frank because this is the second time someone has called him that. It also baffles Frank that all his targets fight so hard to protect their kids. Juwon is on a call with Huisu. She explains she will be late since she is having dinner at a friend's place. Juwon is unable to ask more questions as he gets an order and hangs up the phone. He rushes to prepare the order and deliver it himself. Coincidentally, the customer is in the same building where Frank just killed the salon owner. Elsewhere, Huisu is still at Bong-suk's place. Mi-hyun asks her son to take Huisu upstairs and allow her to change from her drenching clothes. Huisu apologizes for following him and being too curious about his secret. Bong-suk is understanding and forgiving. They talk about different things such as Huisu's training and what she is having trouble doing. She tells him that she thinks he is lucky that he can fly. Bong-suk reveals more about his secrets such as the weights he wears and carries around. He shows her his room, which is filled with cushions on the roof to protect him from hurting himself in his sleep. He admits that he can't control his powers but has been trying to balance his weight and emotions. These are the two things that greatly affect him. He adds that he has been having trouble since he met Huisu. Bold girl Huisu straight up asks him if he has feelings for her. Bong-suk tries to deny it, but as Huisu gets closer, he ends up levitating again. He is so adorable. Huisu is not surprised, but Mi-hyun, who can hear everything thanks to her abilities, is a bit worried. Huisu promises to drop the subject and helps Bong-suk get back on his bed. Bong-suk is surprised that she seems cool with his strange ability. She admits that she believes all things can happen and that she is different too. However, Bong-suk fails to hear this. She promises to keep his secret and tells him that he is not weird, just different. She then tells him that he is special and that is okay. Mi-hyun hears this and smiles to herself as she is touched by Huisu's words to her son. Bong-suk is also happy to hear such assurance from his crush. This time he has weights on his legs so he does not levitate, just smiles shyly. Soon Huisu leaves and Mi-hyun asks Bong-suk to walk her to the home. Bong-suk rushes after Hisu but she sends him back saying he will slow her. Mi-hyun is frustrated when Bong-suk returns quickly. She tells him that it is obvious that Hisu likes him more than a friend. Bong-suk decides to get his raincoat and chase after Hisu. However, she has already covered a fair amount of distance already. He takes off the weights on his legs and starts flying towards her as he calls out her name. Hisu turns and is surprised by the sight of him flying. She silently remarks that he is so cool even though he is unable to control his flying and loses momentum once in a while. He finally reaches her and says he will see her off. Hisu is surprised and touched. On the other hand, Frank cleans himself at the salon before leaving. On his way out, he runs into Juwon, who uses the opportunity to ask for directions to the phone shop. Frank helps him, and Juwon gives him a coupon for his new chicken restaurant. Frank leaves, and Juwon hurries to deliver his food. His customer turns out to be a piece of work. He demands that Juwon returns with a credit card machine to receive his payment. Juwon keeps his calm even as the customer continues to demean him. He promises to return the next day with the credit card machine and leaves the food. The next day, Bongsuk wakes up from his recurring dream. In the dream, he is flying above the skies and there is a man calling him. This time, the man congratulates him and calls him Uri Bongsuk. This means our Bongsuk. Bongsu quickly prepares for school and hurries sneak out to avoid Mihyun. She still notices him and asks why he is going to school on a Saturday. Bongsuk lies that he is going for intense cramming sessions since he is now a senior. Mihyun simply nods, but she finds the fact that he took the time to style his hair unusually odd. She sets about her business and takes a few minutes to check for new information about accidents around the town. Bong Suk meets with Hisu at the school auditorium and watches her train. He pretends to read a book, but it is clear he is distracted. He later reminds Hisu of her promise to keep his secret. She agrees and reveals a secret of her own. She starts by telling him why she transferred to a new school. It turns out it is because she fought 17 bullies at her former school. She did not get hurt, but the others involved were badly injured. Her dad ended up bankrupt after paying the medical bills and the settlement to the victims. Initially, Bongsuk thinks she is joking, but she insists she is telling the truth. She reveals that she can never get hurt.